You dig? First episode, man. Getting buckets, man. As y'all can see by the name. Talking basketball. We're gonna talk football too, but basketball my favorite sport. So for me, I want to come hop in here, have a conversation with y'all in the chat. I want y'all to leave questions, leave hypotheticals, leave whatever it is, man, about players, teams, um, this era versus that era, whatever it is, so we can have hoop debates about it that's about the game and not taking anything out of context of the game, and we keep it to where we're giving people flowers and but also critiquing, but critiquing in a way that don't cross the line of anything. That's what this is gonna be about, man. Critiquing. Definitely a lot of basketball. Throw some football in there, especially like when fantasy football season get here. So probably even hits up tonight because we had a lot of transactions in the NFL today with Um, Devontae Adams, DK, Miles Garrett got paid, so we hit some of those. But yeah, man, basketball is where this podcast is really gonna lie at because I love hoops. So yeah, man. But I want to do a segment where I get y'all Twitter handles. I mean, I get y'all questions down in the chat, man. Drop them on comments in the video, and I'm gonna answer them in weeks to come, so we can have good and spirited debates. And eventually we'll go live and have them live, have these chats live. But yeah, man, good spirited topics and debates on whatever it is, man. So whatever y'all got, based on y'all teams, y'all favorite players, y'all whatever topics y'all see, man, drop them. And I'm gonna touch them in weeks to come, man, in an Ask Will segment. So with that said, man, make sure I hit that like button, the subscribe button, and make sure y'all tell your other homies, man, that love sports, and women too, um, guys and girls, all, man. If y'all love sports, man, come mess with the pod, tell your friends, and have them subscribe and share, man, so we can keep this thing going. But yeah, man, I'm really excited about this. This is the lane I want to get into, sports, sports, being a sports analyst. So something I love, something I'm passionate about. So I'm ready to get into this. You know what I'm saying? And I'd be remiss if I didn't start this show, the first ever show, talking about my favorite team, the team that I don't care who they playing, they got to win. I don't care if they play my favorite player, who's the Ant Man. Um, I don't care if it's whatever, they got to win. Um, or my night's thrown off, and that's the Los Angeles Lakers, bro. My team. Um, and bro, we recording this day after Lakers Celtics, where Bron hurt his groin, unfortunately, and he's going to be out a week or two. But I think the Lakers have a team. Unfortunately they have a tough stretch in these teams that they're going to be playing in this stretch without Bron these next week or two. We'll see if it's this full week or if it's 2 weeks after. This week they're on a road trip too, which doesn't help. But they got to go to Brooklyn. They got a back to back in Milwaukee, in Denver, and then I think they go back home to finish against the Suns on Sunday. So that's this week. We'll see if Bron probably will miss all of these games. We'll see if he comes back early next week. But those are those games that Luka is gonna have to carry. And Luka's a little banged up. We saw he was tweaking with his back in the last game. Still had 34 on 50% shooting, but he's dealing with some ailments. So we got to get some wins here. Luckily, the Lakers are in a position where, bro, they ain't tripping on trying to get into the playoffs as they've been in the past couple of years when they've been trying to get into the plan to make a playoff run. They made their run early, so now they're in a position where they're fighting for the second or third seed. And the Nuggets lost today to the Thunder, so that was another loss that helped the Lakers. So I think all this is going to be about maintaining. Really, I don't think the Lakers really care about where they fall as long as they stay in the top six. But I think the Lakers definitely, if think about it, if the Lakers get this second seed, the only team that they got to go play in their house at a 7 game series, where they won't have home court advantage, is Oklahoma City. So if they can secure the second seed and have it and get that, bro, that's going to set them up well for the playoffs, and that's going to begin in this stretch without LeBron James. And without LeBron James, I think that's going to ultimately call in. It's going to be interesting to see how JJ Redick approaches defense because we know he's gone small ball a lot. Once he gets rid of Jackson Hayes, we've seen Trey Jameson at times, but it's been a lot of small ball with Bando at the five or Brown at the five. And you throw out Rui, although he's hurt, and we're still without him for another week, and Brown. So those are still two guys missing. So I think there's going to be less small ball. So as my Laker fans watching this, that's something to expect going into these next couple of games without Bron. I think it's going to change small ball because I don't know how you can play small ball without Bron because Bron is the key link. He's the key link and key function of the small ball defense unit because you can play him everywhere and he can rebound and he can be physical, and he can match up with everyone. So he's the key link to me that allows the Lakers to play small ball because of what he can do defensively and what he can do on the boards. So without him, I feel like you're gonna have to keep Jackson Hayes, Trey Jameson, and even Trey Jameson like 6'9". We might even see some more Alex Len, which we excuse me, which we haven't seen since he's pretty much been signed outside of that first game. So I think that's something to look forward to. I think it's important that Austin Reeves is going to get. This is where Austin Reeves is going to really have the ball now. He's played well all year, averaging close to 20. But now in these games without Brown, we're going to need that average to go up to 23. We know Luka can carry his own and get he averaged 34, 9, and 9 last year. And now he's getting his legs under him and he's starting to cook. But he needs somebody to come along to the party, especially with no Rui. And Rui is somebody who's very up and down for me when I watch him play, especially defensively. I think he's one of those players where when his offense is going, he's locked in on defense, but when the shot's not falling, he's not locked in on defense. But either way, we're without him right now. So without him, we're going to need Austin Reeves for sure to show up. And then we're going to need that third guy who's normally AR. Um, but now it's going to have to be we're going to need Gabe to step up and either be that third guy and give us a little more nightly. Maybe Don't Connect is that guy and he come in and he has this a next 4 to 5 game stretch where he's averaging 15. But we need one of those guys or both of them to come. Maybe they both average 11 because that allows that average to stay there. So we need those guys to step up because we're going to need some offense because I think our defense is going to lack without Braun. I think that's going to be the biggest factor. Is our defense is going to lack without Braun, so I think the offense is going to have to cover a little bit for that. Not having Braun and not allowing us to go to our best unit, which since the Luka trade has been the small ball, has been our best unit. So I'm not sure exactly where JJ is going to go, but that's what as Laker fan, like the Laker fans watching this, that's what I would pay attention to is what we do on defense, without Braun, because it's going to be a completely different game plan than what JJ normally does with Braun. So it's that, and it's let's see where we go. But they got Brooklyn. That should be a dub. Although these are the kind of games that they lose, the trap games. Whether and that's a game that they should be able to rest a guy. They could honestly, obviously Brown's not playing, but you can also rest Luka and you should be get a win. You should be. That doesn't mean Luka's going to sit, but that's a game that we should win if they focus and lock into the task at hand. That's a game that we should win. The Los Angeles Lakers should win that game. Then we have 2 days off, which is good. They got 2 days off in between Milwaukee, who's on. They're playing their best basketball right now. They lost today to Cleveland, but Cleveland's been playing out of their mind in the regular season. I don't know how well they're going to fare in the postseason, but we'll get to that a little bit later. But the Lakers got to go to Milwaukee. We'll see how that goes without Bron, and then they got to go to Denver without Bron. I just hope that they split. If they can split one of those games, I don't expect the Lakers to be able to win both of those on a back-to-back without Bron. And there's no telling that Luka is going to play in both games anyway, as well as other players. So my goal is to get one of those games. That's what I'm thinking. Get one of those games. You should beat Brooklyn. Hopefully, get one of those back to backs, and then get the Suns, which is also going to be tough because they can fill it up in bunches. They haven't played well this year, like in terms of their record, but they can score. They just can't play defense. But um, like I said, I think our defense is going to be lacking. So hopefully we can get that one. But yeah, definitely if we can split one of those back to backs and get the Suns one, and who knows, maybe even Bron's back by that game because he got hurt on Saturday. So a week. So that Sunday game against the Suns will be a week and a day. So he could possibly be back by then because they said a week to 2 weeks. So that's right in the middle of that. So we'll see exactly how he's feeling come a weekend. So maybe he's back for that Suns game. But yeah, Laker fans, I think that's what our hope is for this week. Just for this week in general, I think we should beat Brooklyn and hopefully split. And hopefully split against Denver and Milwaukee. Those are gonna be tough games, but I think that's where they got to get to. Another topic that came out today was Kevin Durant, bro, and Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless, and y'all can see the post. I'm gonna post the post right here for you. Um, look, Skip Bayless always running his mouth. What does he even be talking about? And I'm glad that Kevin Durant had time today. Um, because Skip, I feel like is at this point, like he's made a career off of, just trashing Bron, which is who I really think Brown would talk about when he's talking about we just allow these people go on TV and say whatever they want. I think a lot of that was obviously to Skip Bayless. And Skip Bayless goes, the more I watch him at age 36, the more KD looks mentally semi-retired to me. Like, what does that even mean? Like, KD out there hooping. If anybody on the Suns is out there hooping, it's him and D Book. Everybody else you could question. Him and D Book giving everything they got to go and turn it around. Now, it ain't working in terms of their record, but they going out there and giving everything they got. So to say he looks semi-retired, I don't even know how you put that out there because I don't think you could blame KD's effort, and he's still putting up Kevin Durant numbers. So to say he looks semi-retired is a ridiculous thing to say from Skip Bayless, but this is what he's made a career off of, just attacking guys and making headlines for no reason. And KD came back and he was like, F it, we're both washed. It was a great run. And he adds Skip Bayless. And then some other guys, and then he kept going back at it with fans, as you guys can see. Um, and Kevin Durant was, I felt like he was right to respond to not only Skip Bayless, but to these fans. A lot of these fans, us fans, bro, like you got to understand, like these are still people, like, and people behind the camera, like say whatever they want, and that's why I want this podcast to be like about the game. Like, obviously, you got to critique certain things, but you could do it in a way where it's a basketball conversation and not me attacking a player. Um, and that's what a lot of people on Twitter and all this stuff do. They feel like because they ain't got nothing better to do with their day. And like this guy says, when you're coasting and giving 75% effort on average, like you've been doing, not hungry like you used to be back in OKC, kind of like Rodgers on the Jets. That dude can't be watching games and think Kevin Durant going 75%. I think just because he makes the game look easy don't mean he going at 75% effort. He just make the game look so easy. But what Kevin Durant is, like I said, him and Book are the only bright spots on y'all team. They both balling. It's just y'all can't figure out the rest of the scoring options, and you can't figure out how to stop people. But to say that he's not trying is ridiculous. It's an absolutely ridiculous point, and that's probably from a Suns fan. And it's like that's what I'm saying. And like, and this is where, and that's also what I get mad about. Like for me, I love basketball, so I watch these games. So when people start talking, and they don't know what they're talking about. It's a it's like people just run their mouth to run their mouth because they don't know what they talk about. So some people just like to argue and hear their own voice, and that is what it is. But it's like, bro, if you're gonna argue a point, at least know what you're talking about so we could have an actual conversation about it. Otherwise, you just hating because you don't even know what you're talking about. You following trends, you following Twitter. Same thing with people in Bronny. Like, come on, man. People just don't even watch. Like, Bronny is in the G League, getting his legs under him, starting to cook. Like, let him progress. And it's like it's so crazy to me how people are so worried about the 55th pick and like people don't even like in the lottery picks aren't even playing well. Um, and so that's like why I don't get like a lot of these, and that's why like when the players respond, bro, I love it because I feel like they putting people back in their place. Because as I already mentioned, a lot of these fans they're gonna say nothing to these people's faces. Um, and the players are done with it. And that's and KD notorious for always responding, and I love it because he should say his peace of mind because everybody want to attack him, and he like, nah, I'm gonna put y'all back in your line because everybody just feel like y'all can attack me because I'm on TV, um, and I'm an easy target. But nah, bro, I'm gonna let y'all know what's happening. And so, but yeah, to get back to Skip Bayless in this point, Skip Bayless need to go on and retire. As Kevin Durant jokingly said, we both watched. Kevin Durant ain't watched, but Skip Bayless is watched. Skip Bayless can he's like a pioneer in this space, but I feel like the way he's kind of become that pioneer and attacking players, that's not the way to go. I feel like there's a way to critique a player, um, and there's a way to give, and there's times where you need to give players flowers, and you can do all of the above without having to be understanding like there's the entertainment factor and all that stuff, but you don't have to be hating. Like Michael Jordan could be your guy, but I don't mean you got to slam and bash LeBron James. Let's keep it basketball. Why do you think Michael Jordan is better? Because he was able to he averaged 30, blah blah blah. Let's keep it there. Not oh LeBron's a crybaby. Not oh LeBron's a choke artist. Like come on, that's not that doesn't even like keep it on the court. Like they don't need none of it ever stays there with some of these guys. And Skip Bayless is notorious for that. He's made his entire career just talking about LeBron. Even when LeBron do something good, he finds something to just pull out of a hat that don't even make sense. he is a generational hater. Is Skip Bayless, and I'm glad that Kevin Durant had the time because man, it's like it's only so much you could take when people will be slandering your name and doing this, that, and the third. I was like, bruh, if you ain't gonna stick up for yourself, who will? You know what I'm saying? So, bruh, I ain't got no problem with KD in this one. Let me know what y'all think about it. As after y'all just saw the post and what people were saying, let me know what y'all think about it. But yeah, man, KD ain't the one to go at because he'll go right back at you. You know what? So don't get it twisted. He will absolutely go back at you. Um, um, but yeah, outside of that, I want to go back to some straight hoops, and that was the Golden State Warriors. I have some comments on the Golden State Warriors. They've been playing well since the Jimmy Butler arrival, but me personally, I don't believe they've been tested yet. I think their schedule, since they've gotten Jimmy Butler, I think they're 8-1, 9-1 since when Jimmy Butler's played. Um, and their schedule since they've gotten him has been on a very weaker side. They've played this has been they've played the Pistons, who are obviously they're not bad. They've played well this year. They're definitely the surprise team of the year. But again, they're not, you know, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Um, but they played the Pistons, the Nets, the Knicks, who we know can't be a good team. The Hornets, the Sixers, whole team's hurt. They play the Blazers tomorrow. They played the Magic. They played the Hornets. They played the Mavericks. That's the hurt Mavericks, by the way. They played the Kings. They played the Rockets. They played the hurt Mavericks again and lost this time. So it's each of the teams that these guys are playing. So I'm not sure like they've been tested yet, but what is good for them is that they're going to have a stretch in April where they're going to be tested. And I think it's good for them to have these games now where they're playing against weaker competition because they can find their balance and mesh with Jimmy. Um, and ultimately, when they get to that point and have that test, already have a lot of chemistry being built. It's not a lot of time that they have to do it, but it is what it is because making a trade at the deadline. So I think when they have that stretch in April, because there's a stretch where they go like Nuggets, Lakers, Memphis. I'll tell you guys right now, yeah. They go at Grizzlies, at Lakers. They go versus Nuggets, versus Rockets, at Suns, versus Spurs, at Blazers, versus Clippers. That's how they end their season in April. So they're gonna have a stretch where they're absolutely gonna be tested, and that's gonna determine whether or not they can get out of that plan, which is what they want to do because they struggle when they've been in the plan since it's been instituted. So their goal is to get out the plan. And right now they're playing well where they can even maybe get to the fifth seed or so. Because the Rockets have been slipping. But that stretch is going to determine where they fall at ultimately, I believe. And so we're gonna see how well it meshes when that actually happens. But what is positive that I believe on the basketball court, that can at least translate them even being competitive, even if it's not that they're top tier, is that I think what Jimmy does is create paint pressure, which allows the defense to have to scatter and there's open shooters and whatnot because he's able to collapse the defense and make them converge on him in the paint, which is what they've been lacking. And when that happens, and they're able to swing, and all of a sudden Steph Curry's wide open for jump shots. Steph Curry has been more wide open for jump shots in these like 10, 11 games of Jimmy Butler than he was the entire season before that. Um, and obviously, like that's what happens when you add that kind of player. They can't just zone in on him, but it's that paint press that he's allowing or that he's creating, and that's allowing open shots, and it's allowing him to get to the free throw line, which is easy points that they weren't generating before was free throw points, which are the easiest points to get. So now that you're getting those free throw points and you're getting Steph Curry a lot more wide open looks, that will translate. And it's another ball handler out there that is smart and can make good decisions, and it helps them to defensively because we know what Jimmy Butler do on defense. Here's the kicker: Jonathan Kuminga. What happens when Jonathan Kuminga is fully put into this team, coming back off of his harsh ankle sprain? What's going to happen? Because I believe his influence on the team is going to take it one or two ways. He can either make them elite in terms of being one of the top contenders in the West, or he's ultimately just going to make them a first round exit. Um, because if the standings were to stay like this and they were to stay the sixth seed, they'd play either the Lakers or the Nuggets, who I believe they lose to both of them. Um, and Jonathan Kuminga is another guy who can possibly generate some paint pressure. Now he's not a shooter, so he's kind of going to clog up space, so it's going to be hard. That's why it's so interesting to me. I wonder how he's going to play coming back in because he's not the greatest shooter. You're definitely living with him shooting jump shots. So when you have Draymond out there, Jimmy out there, who you're living with jump shots, and now you add Kuminga, it'll be very interesting to see how that lineup works. It should be good defensively because he'll add some athleticism and some nice defense for that lineup. But I think that's going to make or break their season. He's either going to make them contenders or it's going to be trouble because there's not going to be enough shooting out there. That's going to make players play off of Steph. However, if you're able to cut and backdoor, that could allow some options with the back picks and cutting that they're going to have with Kuminga and Jimmy Butler, especially Jimmy Butler, because we know how good Jimmy Butler is when it comes to slipping and diving to the rim. But I think for you Warriors fans that are watching, Jonathan Kuminga, that fit is going to make or break your season. Jonathan Kuminga. Um, I haven't seen like on First Take or NBA Today. I haven't seen anybody bring up that point of Jonathan Kuminga. And I think he's either the piece that's going to make them, or he's a piece that's ultimate. I think he's going to hinder them because, like I said, I don't know how it's going to work with so little spacing in those lineups with Draymond, Jimmy, and Jonathan Kuminga. So that's where I'm at with the Warriors. I like the way they're playing, but I do believe they've yet to be tested in this new iteration of themselves with Jimmy Butler. And so when that happens, um, in the month of April, believe me, we'll be right back at this when Jonathan Kuminga is inserted into this lineup, coming back off of his ankle sprain. Um, one of the last hoops topic I wanted to hit on today was Oklahoma City, uh, and my one doubt about them and why I believe a lot of people are picking them to come out the West, and I'm not sure. I don't think I picked them over the Lakers or Denver, strictly because I don't know if they have a second guy that can come to the party. Denver's kind of in that boat too because Jamal Murray's been so up and down. He's come on like he's been better since like January, but even still, like he's had these up and down weeks where like one week he's good, next week he's like eh. So he's gonna have to come to the party because if he doesn't come to the party, they don't have a chance of winning either. Um, but back to Oklahoma City, I think their biggest problem is I don't think they know who their second best player is yet. In terms of that consistent second scoring option, it's supposed to be Jalen Williams. Can he come to the party? Because he couldn't come to the party last year. He wasn't ready. So the question is now, is he ready to come to the party? Because when the 7 game series kick off and teams scheme for SGA, somebody is going to have to be a second scoring option and raise their ability. J Dub is averaging 21 points right now. That 21 needs to go to 23, 24 in the playoffs. That's what the best players do. And that's what ultimately they're going to need Oklahoma City, I believe. If they get that, no doubt that they can go to the Western Conference Finals. They can still be beat, but no doubt they can go to the Western Conference Finals if he's playing um, like number two fiddle to and playing it well next to SGA. But if it looks like last year and nobody comes to the party, oh, believe me, they can be had. If it's only SGA, they can be had because teams are going to scout and plan in these 7 game series. They're going to take the ball away from SGA and make him give it up. So now when he gives it up, somebody is going to have to be a reliable player because I believe SGA can get you 1 game, maybe 2 games if he goes ballistic and he's just hot. But I believe there's no way I believe that he's not going to have at least 1 or 2 duds because and a dud in terms of a team literally not letting him try to score. They go trap him, double team him, box him one, whatever they got to pull out. I think there's going to be at least 1 or 2 games where they're like SGA is not beating us tonight. And my question is, has Jada taken that step? He's an all-star this year, but has he taken that step to where he can beat Klay Thompson in the playoffs? That's my question. Can he be second fiddle? If he can be second fiddle, can he be what Jamal Murray was in their first championship run? Can he be that guy? If he can be that, they've got absolutely because they can play defense, they can play basketball any way you want. They can go small, they can go big with Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren. They can go quick. They can put shooting on the floor. They're the best. They've been the best defensive team in the league all year. So they absolutely have the team around. My only question is, can that second star step up? I was a proponent at the deadline. I thought, and Kevin, I think it was Stephen A. Stephen A. said they should have traded for Kevin Durant. And if you guys ball up top, my other podcast I do with my homie Brevin, That was more entertainment and stuff and whatnot. But we did do a sports episode, and I said that was my concern then, and I said if you're Oklahoma City, you eventually you can't pay all these guys, so one of them has to go. Would you trade one of them and a couple of picks because you got all these picks and go get Kevin Durant? I believe if they had Kevin Durant with SGA and the rest of that squad, absolutely, they'd be my pick to come out of the West, even with the Lakers. But that's obviously not what's happened, and they love the core and they love the youth. But youth only works. Youth can work in the regular season. Youth very rarely works in the playoffs. So somebody's got to come to the party and get rid of that youthful tag on them and become the guy like SGA has. So they need to come. They need to come to the party um, for Oklahoma City to compete. And I kind of feel the same about actually I'm not gonna say that. But when it comes to Cleveland, which is the next topic I'm gonna hit right now, the Cavs, I'm not sure what has changed between this year and the years previous. I understand they got a new coach. They picked up Daniil Hunter at the deadline. But are we sure that they're ready for Boston? Because I believe if they played Boston, they lose it in 5 games, 6 at most. I don't believe it's 7 games. I don't believe that they're a threat to Boston simply because I don't know what's changed. We know Donovan Mitchell can go haywire. Everybody else on that team I've seen be non-existent in playoff games, and I'm not sure what's changed. Um, now, Mobley has improved, but I don't believe the improvements he's made are going to be able are at the point where he's going to change a playoff series against the top elite teams. I don't believe Garland is at that point yet. Um, to where I don't believe either one of them could be the second best player on a championship team. Question is they got two of them, so that's second and third guy. So I feel like 1 through 3, they might have the best 1, 2, and 3 in the league, maybe. I still take Bron, Luca, and Austin over him, but get what I'm saying. They got a nice 3, but again, I don't believe that they're going to come to the party and join Donovan Mitchell. And Donovan Mitchell's also we've also seen Donovan Mitchell have clinkers in the playoffs. Granted, we've also seen 50 pieces. But so, like I said, as I mentioned with Jalen Williams, the best players, regular season playoffs, they get a little bit better. So somebody in Cleveland has to get a little bit better and match Donovan Mitchell, especially in a series with Boston. I believe Milwaukee can give them trouble too, simply because, as I said, they got a duo. You know what Dame can do in a playoff, and you know what Giannis can do in a playoff. So they got two guys that you know can go give you that they can average 74 series. They can average 35 apiece, 30, 35 apiece. So they can absolutely take over a series. And like I said, Giannis can go get you 1 game or 2 games, and you know Dame can go get you 1 game or 2 games. And when you pair them together, that's trouble. So when they get in a playoff setting and they're able to scout for one team, I think they're going to be deadly. People need to watch for them too. Um, um, but yeah, Cleveland, I'm not sure what's different. So there's a lot of believers. I'm not sold on them yet. The thing about the East, I only think it's 3 teams that can win. I don't think the Knicks, and we'll see where the Knicks slide. Right, I don't think they're going to slide far because the East isn't great, but no Jalen Brunson for 2 weeks with that ankle sprain, so they're probably going to dip a little bit, um, and that might have the Bucks might catch them. And with that being the case, I'd probably, in terms of coming out the East, I think my list right now, I'd have Cleveland third. I think give Boston and Milwaukee a better chance of coming out of the East over Cleveland. I just got to see it because I've seen too many duds from them. So everybody's hype on them, but we've seen teams like that Atlanta Hawks have that 67 and 15 year, and then they get bounced and they look like trash. Um, Granted, that was against Brown, but still, it wasn't competitive, and they were 67 and 15. So I want to see them in the playoffs and see if I want to see if Kenny Atkinson has really changed life there for them and brought out a new layer to Darius Garland and to Evan Mobley because they're going to be the keys. So is Donovan Mitchell. He's under pressure too because he's got to perform. Absolutely, he's got to perform. Um, so yeah, that's where I'm at with that. Um, SGA's got to perform too. SGA's got to perform too. There's pressure on SGA to perform too. Because he didn't perform as well as he was runner-up to MVP last year. He didn't play as well in that Dallas series as he did against the Pellies, who weren't great. And he also didn't play as well as he did in the regular season. So, or wait, he's got to answer the call too. Um, so we'll see. It's gearing up for a very good playoff run. But yeah, make sure y'all drop topics, man, because next week I want to hopefully do a that Ask Will Stuff, and I get comments from y'all about players, teams, you know, historical, who would win this and who would win that, whatever it is, just whatever y'all interested about, and drop them so we can have that conversation. Rookies, whatever, you know what I'm saying? So make sure y'all drop that down there. I did want to hit some football topics just to end. We're gonna hit Devontae Adams to the Rams. Big deal. I think that puts them in that top three in that NFC. I think it's them, the Lions, and the Eagles. And this now now they got a receiving core that can match absolutely Devontae. And I believe Devontae Adams is still better than Puka, and Puka's a hell of a player. And I believe Devontae Adams is still better than Puka Nacua at this point. And that's that upgrade. And now you guys still got Kyron in the back. I don't believe he's like superstar running back, but he's a very good running back. And so you're gonna be able to play action off of him and have these guys running scot free. And Devontae is one of those guys where you don't have to scheme him open. Just let him line up and he can get open regardless. Any route, anywhere, any position. Run the slot, be the X, whatever, the Z. He can play everywhere. So he can give you what you want. So now they're going to be in the matchup nightmare, him and Puka Nacua, especially that Sean McVay creativity. They're going to be scary because and they can both run the route tree. Uh, and so I think they need to get like a speed guy just to that'll create that last element they need. I don't know if they still have Tutu. If they re-sign Tutu, that's their speed guy. Um, so if they still re-sign him, man, that's a bit that their offense is going to be nasty. Their defense, um, young and hungry. They got to fix the back end a little bit. I think that's going to be their priority in the draft, and the rest of free agency is their back end. I think their D line is a little small. They can rush the passer, but they remind me of Dallas in the sense that they're small, so they can definitely be ran against, and that's what we saw by Saquon Barkley, even in the snow. Uh, but nonetheless, that Devontae, if I was to give it a grade, it's an A plus. Great move for them, and I think it puts them in that top three in the NFC. It's them. The Commanders are just, I think they're the next tier under it, um, simply because I think their defense needs a lot of help still. Even though they did get Debo on offense, that adds that second player that they needed, but they got to use him differently than you can just use any receiver. He's not just you're not just gonna line him up and pick him out there. But yeah, back to the Rams. Rams now top three in the NFC for sure. Them, the Lions, the Eagles. DK to the Steelers. Uh, DK want to get paid, bro. DK got his money. It'll be that's a nice duo, him and Pickens. But the question is, who's the quarterback? Is it they're going to bring back Russ? Is it going to be Fields? Uh, is it Sam Darnold? Who knows who's going to be? Aaron Rodgers. Um, it's a nice duo. So if they get a quarterback, they'd be nasty. And if the defense can play how they played, TJ Watt come back healthy, be healthy. That whole defense come be healthy. You know they're gonna play some defense, and they're gonna play their hearts out on that side of the ball. So they can get that, they be right. They'll be straight, no doubt about it. But yeah, him and Pickens is gonna be nice. But yeah, it's all gonna come down to quarterback, or it's gonna be a moot point because Pickens has been nice, but yet I've had a quarterback to get him the ball. So we'll see how that goes. And then Myles Garrett, biggest contract ever, 40 million a year. I think he got 123 guaranteed. He asked for a trade, trying to go play some winning football, and the Browns just refused. So he was like, you know what? You're not gonna trade me. At least back up the Brinks trucks. And boy, did they back them up. They backed up the big trucks, all the Brink trucks, all the way to Myles Garrett crib because that boy got paid the highest contract ever outside of a quarterback. And I ain't mad at him. He got to stay. If he got to stay in you know football purgatory, at least get paid while you're doing it. Get paid handsomely, and he getting that. So for me, like he wanted to go play winning football, and that's what I wanted him. I wanted him to be on the Ravens or a team like that where he can go and compete. Now he wasn't going to the Ravens because they're in the same division, so they wouldn't have traded him there anyway. But you get my point. Just a team that where he can go and compete and have a chance at winning. He ain't getting that. They gonna stink, but he gonna get his bag. So that is what it is. That's a wrap on Getting Buckets episode 1. Appreciate y'all, man. This is something I really wanted to do, and we're gonna keep at it, man. We drop a couple episodes a week, 1 or 2 episodes a week. Um, yeah, man. Make sure y'all follow the socials, man. I do a lot of Laker recaps immediately after the games. I'll probably post them on Reels. I mean, on yeah, they'll be on Reels, but they'll also be on YouTube Shorts. The quick recaps. So make sure y'all follow everywhere and tap into those. Make sure y'all drop y'all comments on topics and conversations y'all want to have. Uh, I'm gonna answer them throughout all these episodes, man, and drop them every week so we can keep that going because that's gonna make this even more fun. And eventually, hopefully, go live and we can have this live chat. You dig what I'm saying? So yeah, man, lock in. Make sure y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure y'all share. And yeah, man, your boy is out. You dig? Will Getting Buckets with Will Brooks, episode 1. We out. You dig?